This is the first meeting. It's March 19th of the Open Space and Recreation Plan Implementation Committee. It's 6:31 and we're now open. We have a couple of agenda items, but first let's go around the table with who's here. Ed Winnett.
Robert Trumbull.
Brian Tully.
Jason DeRozier.
Leanne McKenzie.
Adam Somerville.
Excellent. Thank you everyone for attending. So on our agenda tonight is to organize. That's the first thing that we should do. And then we'll look at the action plans, the initiatives or goals that we set for 1 to 3 years and prioritize those goals. Obviously, we can't get them all done in a year. So we'll figure out which ones we want to focus on and set some action plans. We'll set meeting frequency and then adjourn. So the first item up is to organize, and we need to identify a chair. And
I would like to nominate Ed as chair.
I'll second that.
I'm nominating Jason.
All right.
Jason actually ran the initial
Okay.
plan.
And wrote it.
That's fine.
Yep, so kind of a carryover from that.
That's fine. I thought you
I
were
didn't know.
I
Yeah,
got everything
you were
from him.
kind of
That's why I
organizing things. I
said.
didn't know if Jason wanted.
Yeah.
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 I was like, my poo didn't work.
Well, all right. I'll change my nominate. I nominate Jason DeRozier as chair.
I'll second that then.
Excellent. All in favor?
Yes.
We didn't have a vice chair the last, but because this is a longer period of time, I was thinking we probably should. So
I nominate Ed for vice chair.
Second.
There you go.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Yes.
All right. Great.
And then do we need like secretary or anything like that? Or is
Clerk.
it because we're recording these meetings that fulfills that requirement?
It seems like that's the case. You don't have to. We don't actually have to write down minutes, but it'll be posted up to YouTube and.
I think the only thing would be the responsibility of like posting, like getting the information in to post the meeting.
Yeah.
But that could be done by chair, vice chair.
Okay.
Do you have to post an agenda?
You do.
Okay.
Yep. And did you do that for the previous session, or
With the open space plan process?
Yeah.
No, I would send it to Kathy and she would post it.
Okay. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and as far as like posting, I mean, sending the recordings over to WHCA because I work there, I'll take that responsibility. So.
Oh, that's excellent. Because I was looking at the instructions and like, okay.
Yeah, it's I do it for recreation, so it's
Okay,
it's
awesome.
easy. I'll just
Jason, this is a recommendation from previous problems that we've had. It might be better off to send your agenda in a week early because Thursday and Fridays they're not open, and then Thursdays a lot of people leave early.
Yeah.
So we missed like 3 meetings last year because nobody answers our email on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, and I think I copied you on the one that I sent Mike.
Okay.
So you have it.
That's who that person is.
Yeah, Mike
Okay.
Ganship downstairs in the clerk's office.
Good.
Yeah. A lot of times they like to have 2 copies delivered to them, but he was fine that I emailed and he just printed it and signed it. And
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And I always got the agendas for the open space and recreation plan committee meetings, the steering committee, at minimum a week and a half ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like to get things off my
Yeah, I just want to give you a heads up.
Yep.
Like I said, we had a few. You got caught up in it a couple of times yourself, so.
And we may,
attending the planning board, yeah.
Yes.
yeah, and we may find too that the agenda's really not going to change
Yeah,
if we
no,
sort of template it.
I just know they cut their hours here on Fridays and
Yeah.
stuff.
All right. I will make sure I keep an eye on
It
that.
doesn't always work.
All right, so with that agenda taken care of, Jason, you comfortable leading us through the rest of the agenda?
Yep. So everyone in front of them has a portion of the open space plan. This is the 10-year action plan. This sort of are the goals and the strategies to move Whitman forward in open space and recreation acquisition, programming, protection, nurturing, et cetera, et cetera. It's organized by years. So short term is years 1 through 3. Essentially, it's 2025 through 2028. Midterm years 3 to 7, 2028 to 2032, and then lower priority actions will be accomplished in the longer term, 7 to 10, or things that would take longer to accomplish. is sort of like year 7 to 10, 2032 to 2035. Ongoing actions occurred during the entire 10-year period. Open space plans up until about a year or two ago had 7-year action plans. The state increased it to 10. So this action plan covers the town of Whitman through 2035. The plan was submitted earlier in the year for state approval. The town of Whitman received conditional approval. We were just waiting on a letter from the planning board, which we did receive a vote in the affirmative last week. So a letter will be provided in the upcoming days or week. And so once I have that letter, I can incorporate it into the plan and send it back to the state for final approval. Conditional approval means that the town of Whitman can apply for grants, but just won't receive money. So when we have final approval, the money, any money that's applied for, will get released.
Cool question.
Yes.
Has everybody read through the open space and recreation plan?
Yeah.
For the most part,
Not
yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, not all.
It's
of it.
quite lengthy.
Yes.
I'm at Public Works, so I read through it, looked ahead at some of the things that may involve Public Works
Yeah.
because that'll be me.
And the focus is where the
You know,
rubber
under
hits the
direction
road.
of Bruce, of course.
Yeah, and this is where the rubber hits the road. So a lot of that is great information, but that's why we're focused on this particular section of the
And
document.
I will say there are a lot of open space plans that are much longer. I cut a lot out. Didn't do. The state has their requirements as to what they want incorporated in the plan, which is why it's somewhat longer, but it is much shorter than some of the other ones that I've seen at 100 and so 40 something pages.
Just out of curiosity, did we get your letter from Melissa yet?
I have not.
No. Okay, I'll make sure.
As of when I checked my email,
I
15
will.
minutes ago.
When I leave here, I'll make sure that
Okay.
gets out to you because I know you need it. So, I just wanted to make sure.
So, I guess what we could do is just review everything that's sort of identified for years 1 through 3. Go through it and then sort of like maybe prioritize and think about what are the highest level needs or the lowest hanging things that we might be able to accomplish pretty quickly, and then sort of like prioritize from there. So on the first page, page 139, there are 3 that are sort of identified for years 1 through 3. Objective 1.2, identify threats to water systems. Action here is inventory culverts and watershed stressors. This is sort of designated the responsible parties, conservation commissions, and DPW as a support. There are some funding sources: the Mass Culvert Replacement Funding Program, MVP Action Grants, MS4, and DEP funds. OCPC, we also do culvert assessments and can assist as needed with that. 1.3, manage and reduce invasive species. The connected action is develop an invasive species plan and host educational workshops on what are invasive species and what to do with them. Conservation Commission and then this OSRP committee. There are some funding sources with EEA, Invasive Plant Program, as well as volunteer time. And then 1.6 at the bottom, develop and implement a humane goose control strategy. Research best practices and install deterrents in parks and fields to mitigate impacts of geese. This was sort of delegated as of right now to DPW and Board of Health. There's some, I would probably not rely too much on the local budget for this. But there are mass wildlife funds, private donations, as well as staff and board time, or at least committee time, this committee. Next page, 2.2. Identify land for permanent protection. Map and prioritize parcels for acquisition or easements falling under this committee, as well as Conservation Commission. There are EEA land grants available to help with the acquisition and purchase of parcels for permanent protection. Number 3.1, towards the bottom, identify physical barriers. This is under Goal 3, ensure universal access to parks and open spaces by removing barriers and embracing inclusive design. The action here is conduct ADA audits of all town open spaces. Responsible parties are DPW, Recreation Department, this committee, as well as the Select Board may be providing support. And then there's the Mass Park Grant and ADA improvement grants. We currently are working with the town of Abington to do complete ADA assessments of all town-owned properties. Town hall, library, the schools. I was out last week with my colleague Rhiannon doing the Woodsdale School in Abington. Next page, 3.4, expand inclusive programs. Launch senior and adaptive recreation programming. This would fall under the purview of the Council on Aging and Recreation Department. EOEA grants, private sponsorships, staff and volunteer time can be potential funding sources and supports. Goal 4, unify and elevate land stewardship through visionary management plans. 4.1, create tailored management plans. Develop site-specific stewardship strategies. This is under the Conservation Commission as well as this committee. The funding source can be CPA. 4.2, foster volunteer networks. Establish friends of groups for parks and open spaces. When I was writing the open space plan, I believe in talking to Bruce, there might have been a friends group at one point for the park. So there might be value in maybe in sort of like reincorporating that or reintroducing that maybe, as well as maybe some other friends groups for the stewardship of open spaces.
There used to be one for the pool too.
Okay.
We found that out recently in recreation.
Okay.
Oh, for the pool?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Somebody dropped off some like old bank statements, and it was from, I think it was from the 90s.
Oh.
They had one, yeah.
And as well as responsible parties fall under this committee. Youth groups or youth in the community, maybe Conservation Commission, private donations and sponsorships, as well as volunteer time for funding. 4.3, launch volunteer cleanup crew. This is coordinating recurring stewardship events, Conservation Commission and volunteers, private donations, sponsorships as well for that. 4.4, establish local control of Whitman Town Forest. This will probably be a point of discussion with this group moving forward. Before going into that, who in this group knew that Whitman has a quote-unquote town forest?
I did
That
know where
that
it
wasn't
is,
on the
but I knew
committee.
we had that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, before we found out.
Oh, yeah.
So it was sort of identified pretty early on in terms of this process, and I think talking to folks that Whitman had a town or at least a town woods over by the Rotary, across from the funeral home. When I did the survey, a lot of people didn't know it existed, and so I think that there's an opportunity there to use that or utilize that area as sort of like for passive recreation, walks, bird watching, animal watching, et cetera, et cetera. The only exception there is that it's not recognized as a state forest, and or a town forest. If you want to go through that route, there's a whole lot of process. And you have to have a town forest management plan. So it's whether or not you want to pursue town forest status, or you just want to keep it under local control, local stewardship, and just sort of like keep it clean. And there's benefits and challenges of doing both. But the first step in that would be researching current ownership and legal status and determine a pathway for town ownership or long-term control. Through my research, the town forest was taken by the town for tax holdings in the early 1900s, from what I could tell. I looked through the registry of deeds. I found reference to it being in tax taking, but there's nothing after that. And so we'll just have to research it and look at that. And largely Conservation Commission, Town Council as well, Select Board, and I would just add this committee to that and sort of assisting the Conservation Commission, and that's largely just staff time and volunteer time of this committee. And then Goal 6 on page 143 at the bottom, inspire community pride and connection through trail visibility and nature events. 6.3, host recreation and engagement events. Coordinate Explore Whitman Outdoors Week and nature events in town. Recreation Department, Cultural Council as a support, as well as this committee. Private donations, grants, sponsorships, staff and volunteer time for that one. 6.4, promote community cleanup and beautification. Launch Town Cleanup Day and Pollinator Garden programs are some potential actions. DPW, Conservation Commission and volunteers. Staff and volunteer time, private donations, sponsorships, and grants can assist. 6.5, expand public events and social gatherings in town. Host and or expand seasonal events like farmers markets, movie nights, and concerts. From the survey, it seemed like town residents really wanted to utilize open spaces more and do celebrations and sort of events. in them. Mass Cultural Council grant, festivals grants, sponsorships, project for public spaces grants as well. And then goal 7, transform Whitman into a walkable, bikeable town with connected greenways. 7.2, support active transportation. Some actions here: install bike racks at parks and public buildings, add crosswalk improvements, including high visibility markings, curb bump outs, and pedestrian signals. To promote safer crossings, partner with schools to encourage walking and biking to school with designated routes and infrastructure upgrades. A whole lot of sort of responsible and supporting parties, including but not limiting to DPW, Planning Board, Select Board, Cultural Council, Recreation Commission, and the Whitman Public Schools. Safe Routes to Schools, or SRTS grants. MassDOT, People for Bikes grants as well can help with that. And then I think there's one more, if I remember. There's a couple more. Goal 8, secure and steward critical open spaces in town. 8.1, prioritize land protection. Identify and map priority conservation parcels. Land grants as well for that one. Conservation Commission and Planning Board to assist. Transfer 8.4, transfer after you do the research and figure out who town forest belongs to and whether or not you want to pursue town forest designation. Transfer Whitman Town Forest to town stewardship. Work with ownership entities to formally transfer land. That would be Select Board, Town Council, and Conservation Commission. That's largely staff time as well. Goal 9, equip landowners with tools and knowledge to support land stewardship. 9.1, build online and digital resources. Develop a landowner web hub that includes land for Chapter 61 land trusts and tax info. That would be Assessor, Conservation Commission, and this committee. I would sort of circle and keep in mind that probably not rely too much on the local budget for that one. And then last page, 10, goal 10, which is expand recreational offerings to meet evolving community needs. 10.1, evaluate the feasibility of potential sites for the two things that I heard most in terms of what people wanted in town were a skate park and a dog park. Overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
So 10.1 deals with the skate park to meet youth recreation needs. That would include conducting feasibility and site analysis for where a skate park could potentially go. This is split up between two different funding sources. First would be the feasibility and due diligence. That would largely be on staff time and volunteer time with this committee. And then implementation funding. CPA can help fund the development of and running of a skate park. The Tony Hawk Foundation has a lot of funds for communities that want to establish skate parks, as well as private donations and sponsorships. Converse or Vans are shoe companies that routinely will sponsor skate parks, and they'll see like the Converse logo on the park, for example. 10.2, evaluate the feasibility of potential sites for a community dog park. Same thing with the skate park. Identify location and funding. Ensure accessibility and shade. CPA, Stanton Foundation Dog Park Grant can assist with that. And then that's it.
For the dog park, skate park, can you use CPC money for that? Could that help out?
Yeah. So when I put CPA, it's essentially the same thing.
Okay.
CPA money.
I saw CPC on one thing, but CPA on others.
Yep. CPA is the funding source. CPC is a party because the Community Preservation Committee delegates CPA funds.
But it just seemed like a lot, that you could use that. I know we have the recreational part of that.
Yep.
Will this committee have representation on the CPC as far as like a liaison to the CPC, or?
I'm already on CPC.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be, because on recreation, our liaison quit recreation, so we haven't had one. So I'm supposed to be like the fill-in for it. So
it seems like we'll have that sort of
we'll be working
anyway.
at both.
Yeah, Planning Board has a seat on all of them. Then it just happens to be me.
Yeah, and I figured too, there's, some like the cultural, Council of Aging, the Cultural Commission, for those particular items, we could bring them in as sort of as needed.
Yeah. The CPC isn't really using a lot of money. Right this year, the biggest thing, just pretty much the last 2 years, the most we've done is get new signs for our old homes. We did all the picnic benches in the park, the handicap benches and stuff like that, which came out nice. That would work out good too for when you were saying about the I don't know, it's all of the other. Before about the bike racks.
Yep, the
and
bike rack.
stuff. You could probably get money for that.
Mm-hmm.
So just trying.
Yeah, prior to being at Old Colony Planning Council, I was at the Ulster Brighton Community Development Corporation in Boston, and we partnered with Boston College as well as Boston University and the two Main Streets districts to do sort of like decorative bike racks that sort of like, I don't know, celebrated the history of Alston and Brighton.
Yeah.
So in Alston, we had bike racks with like the Green Line trains and like a record player and a graffiti can that spelled out Alston. In Brighton, it was a steer head because of the steer yards.
Yeah.
They used to be in Brighton. And there were a couple of others. And so, it might be interesting to like, as part of this work, to run like a contest in the community to say like, how can we design bike racks that sort of celebrate the history of Whitman as well as serve as bike racks? So maybe there's like a cookie one or, whatever else that might be interesting.
Then you have the
And there's
bike,
grants available for those.
then you have the bike trail that they're trying to do from East Bridgewater to Abington.
Yep, that's part of the, yep.
Yeah, so there's other actions on here that are ongoing as well too.
Yeah.
So when you look at the number of items from 1 to 3,
Yeah.
it looks daunting, and then you add in the ongoing ones already. It's just it looks overwhelming.
They're just talking about something. I forget exactly what it was, but there was a parcel that they were talking about having developed and donated and having letting them put the bike trail through the back of that to help connect to the other two.
Yeah, there's 4 pieces of property that we need easements on. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Some of the ongoing ones, like 4.7, improve maintenance of neglected and overgrown public lands. That's conduct an inventory of neglected parcels and prioritize cleanup. Does the Conservation Commission have a list of like what you would consider neglected parcels?
No.
No, but we did a lot of the walks.
Mm-hmm. So we might be able to identify a number of those from the list that we have.
Yeah, and I just know from going out in conservation land too, there are some that I brought up to the Conservation Commission that people use them as dumps.
Yeah.
That's a problem. But right now, we don't really have a lot of enforcement because we don't have bylaws in the town. So
Yeah.
we've put forth a set of bylaws that should help, with that enforcement piece.
Because there is that extensive inventory of lands in the open space plan. Not saying I want to go for 100 walks this summer, spring and summer, but if you wanted to, we could do a couple of more and sort of like work from that map and say like these ones are the ones that go on that list. And that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
EDC is also going to work on putting a list together of abandoned properties and everything like that to try to get some kind of an action going on those. But that's not until the May meeting, so it's a little ways off.
Yeah, and it seems like things like 4.7 and 4.3 can kind of work in conjunction, like identifying what needs cleaning up and then organizing crews
To clean those up.
to help clean those up.
There's got to be Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that can get in on
Yeah.
those for their community service. Well, not even the high school.
Yeah.
They have to do a certain amount of community service and everything like that to graduate.
Yeah, they've done great at Hardings and Hobart,
Yeah.
cleaning those side trails all over. Awesome job.
DPW inherits a fair amount of that on an
Yeah.
ongoing basis.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 town meetings ago, the kids stood up and they were talking about how many nip bottles they took off just on Franklin Street.
Yeah.
And it was just a big thing. They wanted, at the time, they were trying to ban nips from everywhere, but just the amount that they found.
Is every town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But the amount that they found in their cleanup.
If you want to feel bad about your community, run the street sweeper for a day.
Oh,
You
God.
go down the curb line, you're going 3 miles an hour, and you just see all the
Yeah.
trash, and you go,
What are we doing?
what?
Yeah.
You feel bad. You're like, you get mad.
Yeah.
You really do.
Go take a walk in the woods. They'll take you. No, so,
Yeah.
it's really.
We go through the drainage brooks, and we find trash like mile in the woods.
Yeah.
Bottles and tires and
How did that stuff get there?
Yeah.
So,
Even the stuff we found down by the Regals.
it's a huge amount of trash.
So, of the things that were identified for years 1 through 3, does anything jump out as sort of, I don't know, exciting or interesting that any of you particularly want to jump in on? Or that seems sort of like particularly important maybe at this point in time to sort of like prioritize at the top of the list? Because we're not going to get everything done, obviously, in like the first year, but
I was going to ask about the culverts. Doesn't the DPW already have a list of culverts? And isn't there one in the municipal vulnerability plan?
I think, Bruce could answer the question, it would probably be in a stormwater management plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get with Bruce on that.
Right.
We just had, I guess the EPA's up in arms about outdated system of it.
Sure.
And I would probably, I think it's probably safe to assume that my colleague Matt already has a list of them
He probably
because
does, yeah.
culverts is one of his things.
Right.
So is that an easy one maybe to get Matt, the DPW?
Like to inventory them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we already have a
Get
list
together?
of them, so that would be,
I know.
And just to compare what you guys have, what he's got.
Mhm.
It seems like that would be a low hanging fruit. Huh? What number one was it?
1.2. So the question is, after you have them listed, what do you do then? Right? 'Cause the funding sources aren't necessarily for the identification of them because that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's like, do you then like create an action plan to actually like improve and repair and restore culverts? So it's just probably what the funding is, more aligned to.
Which would be another 10-year down the road thing. Some here, some there, I imagine.
Yeah, but you would at least, as part of this process, inventory them and then sort of like have a list in terms of like, these need to get fixed sooner than later, and these ones are more longer term.
Is there any idea how many culverts there are in Whitman? Is there any, just curiosity on,
Yeah.
Dozens and
Yeah.
dozens and dozens.
you start getting into replacing grates, any like
Yeah, I mean,
patches to the trash
A
and
lot of times
whatnot.
it's the ends where they drain out to the
Yeah.
ends,
Yeah.
the head walls and things like that.
I know they have things, we put in them, they like to throw a tire through with a chain to pull them through to clean them out.
There's
All kinds of ways of
any
doing
method
it, but
you can,
yeah.
cost-effective method.
Yeah, well, easiest too.
Nothing can
Yeah.
cheaper.
So
But it's just curious.
do we think that's one that we should target?
It'd be a high pollution thing to me, if it's all backed
I mean-
up with,
Most of the information probably exists already,
yeah.
so it'd be easy to get
Yeah.
through the DPW or whatever.
If I'm reading this right, in the most recent capital improvement plan for Whitman, there are 4
Culverts?
No. It's gonna be-
main culverts.
Dam culverts, meaning
It says Whitman has 4 bridges or large culverts identified
That's a
in the capital improvement plan. So,
6th Street,
Okay.
South Ave.
Pine Street.
and that's dated 2021 through fiscal year 2025.
I didn't know if you're going to the extent of outfalls, of drainage, things like that, which encompasses all that. The stormwater plan has all that. So
Okay,
it's all related.
easy enough to look into.
The thing that sticks out to me, which is going to stop popping up very soon, is the geese. A lot of people are affected by it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's unsightly. It's terrible.
The walkway by the water going down.
It sounds simple. It sounds simple, but it's
You can't walk on the grass.
Yeah.
can't sit. You can't have a picnic.
No.
You're gonna have an outdoor event. It's a memorial field.
Yeah.
It's Bruce has tried some methods,
Yeah.
but as of late, the dog herders work well.
Yeah.
Costly.
Yeah.
It's got to be done all the time.
Even the baseball fields, softball fields, you're eating everything.
Yeah, they just make a mess.
I think
Protected.
I
I've
think
seen
you're right.
seen them on the news, different things they have. I mean, maybe we could look into some of those, get funding for, I forget what it was called. Some type of a,
Some kind of deterrent.
yeah, that we had not tried.
Flashbangs.
Well, they have the whistle rockets, and
Yeah.
they fly away, but they,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
fly
I've
back
seen that.
20
It's
minutes
basically
Yeah,
like
right,
a
right,
bottle
yeah.
rocket sound, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
later.
They know where to have the babies. I would agree.
They
I
just go to
think
the high
that's a one.
school, and then they come back.
The geese.
Yeah, the geese.
All
I
right.
think that's a high one for sure.
All right.
And it's
So
a,
I have
and
the-
it's a public health issue.
The
Yeah.
culvert
Yeah.
Absolutely.
inventory only because that seems to be fairly easy. We probably already have that information collected.
Yep.
And then maybe it's just once we have that at a future meeting, we just sort of like identify the priority level of them and sort of like mark them out that way.
Yep.
And then I have the geese on one starred as
Which one
well.
was that one?
1.6.
On the on 1.3, the invasive species. So I've actually been in contact with Mass Division of Fish and Wildlife about their program for education around invasive species.
Mhm.
So they're putting one together.
Okay.
They don't have one, but I'm going to look to try to have them come out and do a presentation for the library maybe.
Okay.
And then maybe my idea was to utilize that for conservation and have conservation present it once a year or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be a good plan. On the invasive species, do you have a sense that people who are gardening plant invasive species themselves and maybe not know that it's invasive?
It looks pretty. Put it in the ground.
Yeah, like that burning bush. Yeah, I mean there are certain ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Butterfly bushes, which I recently found out about after putting one in my yard.
Yeah.
I know people.
I have a
that-
burning bush.
Yeah.
I know people didn't want a development in their place who found a tree crock, just put it in somebody's yard just so they wouldn't have a development put by the house.
I think the most stuff we see along the edge of the ponds and stuff is the buckthorn, the stuff that's really, really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we do have. Conservation does have treatment done on both ponds.
Yep.
I think that's like in the pond
Yeah.
for invasive species. So that is ongoing. We did just renew for another year, right? That was for this
Yeah, the
year.
weeds in the ponds aren't that bad.
Yeah.
As they used to.
Yeah, because
They
they're
tested them. It's actually right.
yeah they're tested regularly for the water quality, meaning like not to swim in, but to sustain
Right.
aquatic life.
Yeah.
So both are in good shape that way. And then again, they are treated for invasive plant species a couple times a year. So as long as conservation pays for it, it's done. So it's been going for a few years.
So I think that one's a possibility, but we could say that for all of them. So let's just keep that in the back of minds as we look at
Well, that one largely seems to be coordinating with external partners like wildlife, and then just having them come in and do it like once a
Yeah.
year or whatever it is. And so the work on our side is more of like the coordinator versus actually leading anything.
Right.
They just come and maybe do it for the conservation
Yeah.
commission every so often.
I know they've done talks at the library and the COA about like the benefits of native plants, but maybe somebody could also do a
Yep.
talk about invasive species and what you should do if you find it in your yard or
I think one other to mention. So we're about a month out from Earth Day, and last year we attended Ed and I attended a cleanup that was sponsored by, I think the organization is Make Me Brand New.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still active.
They're out of Kingston, right?
I
the mall?
I don't know. Yeah,
They closed. Yeah, they closed.
They closed.
Yeah.
Okay, why just full?
Well, they left the mall. I think she was trying to continue the organization in some way.
Okay.
I follow them on Facebook, so I can
Okay,
just check in to see what they're
Yeah.
doing now, or maybe if it's not an operational business, she might still have the networks.
Right, that's what I don't know. So that might be.
she lives in Whitman. She was on recreation and
Okay.
Angela.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, I think I might have a number. I can reach out to
Yeah,
see.
just to see what she might be doing, because I mean that was a great event. The weather was terrible. That's really what happened last year, but it was really well done. So
And it was really focused on Hobart.
yeah, that area.
Mhm.
Yep.
In the MBTA, down the MBTA train station, that gets to be a mess. And there was a homeless encampment, so I actually had MBTA come in and clean that out. But for this cleanup crew, I mean, we're not just talking one area, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about
Yeah.
multiple areas.
Multiple areas, and I think that spills over into like the friends groups. Like if we did friends of Hobart and Harding, and that's where you would have people be able to go out on some sort of regular basis and just help pick up a bit.
I remember at one time the DPW, and I think I was commissioner at the time, we were trying to get people to be responsible for their streets. The neighborhoods, yeah. And, the DPW handed out gloves and trash bags. And I forget the person that really was leading it up.
Yeah, she lives on Harvard Street. Arena?
Yeah, that's, I think that's, yeah. That's
She pushed that for a while, and I don't know how it ever, maybe COVID put an end to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
so maybe that's something we could look back into.
Yeah.
See if people want to do neighborhoods or areas.
Yeah.
It always brought up a question of liability.
Right.
You're asking people to work on the edge of the road picking up trash, and you got to be safe.
And needles. Needles will be an issue too.
The needles have gone way down.
They have gone way down.
For me,
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the streets every day,
Yeah.
way down.
Well, that's a good
And
thing.
there's
Yeah.
still parking lots and certain spots, but not like it was.
Yeah.
For 3.1 physical barriers, the ADA audits, I can look. I worked with Kathy and Mary Beth to submit a application to the Massachusetts One Stop for Growth program to work on a master plan for the town. The last master plan in Whitman was 2004. So it's been a number of years, and the town already has an
I have it
updated
in the bag.
open space plan. I'm currently working with the town to update its housing production plan. There's a capital improvement plan that should be probably updated soon. There's the MVP, and it's a joint MVP and HMP, hazard mitigation plan. There's a lot that can go into an updated master plan, but I can look to see if there's an opportunity for fiscal year 27 or fiscal year 28 next funding cycle to do ADA audits. That would be on this group to do. OCPC would do it, but this group would get credit for doing it on the open space plan.
Yeah, we got denied last time for the grant for the master plan.
Yeah, because the town went in for 2, and I think they just
Too
saw
much.
the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
This year we just put in 4.
That was the first thing when I got named chairman, is tried to get done, and that didn't go over.
And I actually think that that's a pretty important one, because to support the open space, you want to make sure that it's accessible for everyone. So maybe that is one that we put on, the docket for this year. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I know that we're in. I don't know if this is specific to just open spaces, but I know for recreation, the lift for the town pool is where in the works, I think, with the CPC and trying to get funding to fix it because it's broken. Like it seems like all the lifts, like the one in the auditorium here, all the ones at like the sports stands that are supposed to bring people up to the press box and stuff like that, they all seem to be broken. So
Yeah, so this is for the open space plan, so obviously it says conduct ADA audits of all town open spaces, but I just wrote in on mine and town-owned properties, because that could be, so you'd want to do the park, you'd want to do the pool, you'd want to do, I don't know, I mean, you could do, and I did an ADA assessment of like Hobart's, like for example, but there's not so much you can do there. But I think it'd also be important to do ADA assessments, which I didn't have to do as far as this project because it was no longer required, of like school ball fields, school amenities, the school buildings, just to make sure that, because there's money available to do like ADA adjustments or improvements for that also. So that's something that I can just sort of like take the lead on because it's part of my work anyway.
Yeah, through Public Works, a lot of that stuff's ongoing in the park. We're patching the pathways and repairing this apparatus at the playground. Because a lot of it's happening like within our work schedule all the time.
Yeah.
Some of them, like 4.1, for instance, I don't think that that'd be a target for this year. It's a little further out.
Yep.
Maybe there's some research that can get done or some conversation, but to actually implement.
Yeah, can't do it.
I moved that to 3 to 7.
Well, probably maybe year 2. Yeah.
Or 3. Or bridges 3 to 4. Yeah. So these are the way this is designed, and I did have to tell people because they're like, well, this is a big plan. I was like, yes, but this is designed to be like a menu of options. And this is not meant to be sort of static. It's flexible. It's fluid. Things will drop off. Things will pop on. And so environments change and funding opportunities change. Things come online. Things disappear. And so this sort of sets an initial sort of point in time sort of understanding of what the town can do to move these things forward. But for that, it might be like, it says 1 to 3, but it might actually be 4 because you have to do 3 other things in order to get to that point, right? And so,
Plan long term.
And something like 4.2, finding volunteers is pretty hard right now. So, maybe that's not within the next year as well.
Is there a difference though, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a difference between sort of like volunteering for a board or a committee that sort of like has somewhat of a schedule, or volunteering for Friends of like Hobart Pond, for example, where like one weekend a month or one Saturday a month or whatever you go and like pick up, trash?
So I think of Friends of the Park when June O'Leary ran it, because I was the DPW liaison. I mean, it was pretty regimented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that's fair.
there were goals, there were actions that needed to be taken.
I think
Yeah.
a big thing with that was there was a lot of fundraising event type things that she did to raise money for things. And I think that's definitely needed. It's just a matter of finding people who have that skill. And I know that it's tough, well, I guess, for me on recreation, because like we can't, as a member of recreation, it can't directly fundraise for recreation things like the pool or the park kind of thing. So it's like finding people to take that and kind of trying to guide them to it. It gets confusing and tough sometimes.
The Friends of the Park was really focused on preserving the Olmsted.
Yep.
Yeah.
The vision of the
Yeah,
the design.
I remember the trees. I would Dave the arborist.
I'm a carpenter by trade, and even trying to volunteer to help fix things someplace. You're not licensed, right? You can't help us.
Yep.
Well, that's a liability.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry for trying to help you fix your stairs.
But maybe as we identify the ones for this year, maybe we do say, maybe the Friends of the Park is a good place, because if we want to focus on the park, maybe that one, but not everything, not every Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can keep it to certain different degrees. Like, if the park calls for a higher level of commitment and more regimented schedule. But I do think, like you said, like for Harding Pond area, it's so small. And I think it would be easy to get a small group together, just like once a month or something, to kind of casually clean up and whatever.
Yeah, and you can constantly just be pulling new people in a cleanup initiative like that. It's a lot easier, so.
I like the idea of 4-3, like you guys said, having the high schoolers,
Yeah.
the scouts, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Some people need to get their volunteer hours for certain things.
Yeah.
There again.
All
Ryan
the seniors, every senior has to
Don't
commit
have to do 50 hours.
something like that.
Is there like a central contact person for that who like runs that program?
My daughter graduated 4 years ago. I could ask her.
My daughter graduates this
Mostly
year.
it's
I can
one of the
ask her.
guidance
Yeah, that'd be
counselors
great, yeah. Okay.
that would
Okay.
be in charge of it, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Is it you talking about National Honor Society?
I guess maybe.
Is that?
I don't know. I
No,
have my
she's
daughter.
not part of that, but she's been volunteering fairly regularly with the Holbrook Food Pantry because my brother-in-law lives in Holbrook, and like our niece and like my daughter will go and volunteer there, and she's been like doing volunteer hours, I believe, for school. So I can find out, but I think Ryan had mentioned that 4.3 and 4.7 are connected. 4.7, improved maintenance and neglected overgrown public lands, is ongoing, and so do the inventory of neglected parcels first, and then use that list to organize cleanups around those sites.
Perfect,
So it's
yeah.
more coordinated and connected.
Yeah, and we can, every good weather month, we can pack in, where we want to go, and just do like maybe a once a month cleanup of those sites.
I mean,
I think that's something I'd be interested in doing for sure.
You do have a shortage of volunteers. I know, like at the senior center, if you volunteer, do a certain amount of hours, you get a little bit of a tax credit on your property tax. It could be an incentive to get more people to come in and volunteer if you take a couple $100 off their tax. I know the town needs money, so I'm not trying to take it off of that.
And
But it is a
list.
It is a list,
There's a
and my
list
mother,
you have to
you
get on.
can't even get on it.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
if
only
you
like 25.
if you extend it, maybe you
Yeah.
can get people to
That's right.
volunteer to do something.
Yeah, there's been talks of that, but it hasn't happened yet.
So in terms of priorities as of right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.2, the culvert inventory 1.6, the goose control piece. 3.1, I will sort of take on as lead for this one, which is the ADA audits to secure funding for that. And then 4.7, the inventory of neglected parcels, so that we can maybe that's sort of like our work over the next couple of months, because once the weather gets nice, maybe we sort of like prioritize which ones we want to get cleaned up.
A dog park would be nice.
We thought we had it.
Yeah.
At the garden?
Sold.
So
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
They were gonna put one on at the end of South Ave.
No, I think Ed was talking about over by Hornstra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Bedford Street.
across the street.
Yeah.
I went and talked to the landowner and everything, and it was in the works. And I talked to Ryan too, but
The Economic Development Committee last month were talking the topic of the garden came up.
Yes.
Um,
For the
over
battery
by-
center.
In terms of, I'm not quite sure the ownership of the garden. Like,
It's still up in the
It's
air,
not an
yeah.
established community garden. I don't believe
No.
it's sort of like.
correct.
I think I use the term squat. I don't like using that term,
Yeah.
but it's sort of like people just utilizing it as a garden. But I think when we did our walkthrough of Hobart Meadow for the open space plan, the layout and I think the size of it could accommodate a skate park in one corner and a fenced-in dog park in the other, and so you could essentially do a little complex all in one area if that was a site that the town wanted to designate for that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out because that's the Parker Bates Memorial Field. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, there was a plaque there too, and I don't believe the plaque is there anymore.
Sign. I replaced the sign on the backstop a long time ago, but I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything associated with it being Parker Bates, if there's some restrictions. Maybe not, I don't know.
They
But,
used to use it for the softball league.
right, it was a softball field, yeah. Yeah, the recreation department
Yeah,
used to rent it out,
We used to call it the dump field when I played baseball there.
right?
Was there a reason why they stopped?
I don't know. I'm not sure why they
The
stopped
leagues
baseball there.
just moved to different venues and like, I don't know.
But I think you're right, I think that
The
is.
field came into disrepair. Being a dump field, there was a lot of dips and divots, and the, whatever's underneath there is decomposing and need a lot of maintenance. It turned into a garden. And there again, Public Works, we do a lot to help them.
Yeah.
Constantly fixing the well. We do the general mowing, dry the compost. People drop off the boards. We'll help them assemble them if they can.
I think that's all part of the question. Then.
Is
Who's paying for that? Where's the money coming from? You know, that's all part of it. Who's paying the water?
they did
bill?
start a committee.
Did they?
Yeah, garden committee that maybe you can reach out to them. Like Amanda Bruce is her name. She's there all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what would happen to that if you're going to do an accessibility there. The ins and out, getting in and out of there is a little bit tricky. The way it's through an old fence gate. You know, if you have physical limitations, you may not be able to get out there. It's
Yeah, the one thing I heard about
slippery slope.
the dog park specifically, and it was referenced that Abington has a dog park, which I think a lot of people in Whitman use. They didn't like Abington because it's it gets hot. It's stone. They said they would want something more local that could be fenced in, so the dogs could be off leash, as well as grass, so it doesn't get hot on the dogs. Because I guess it's really hard on the dogs during like hot summer to be in a dog park that's like stone and cement.
Yeah.
Where is the one in Abington?
Behind the senior center.
Oh, okay. I still
On
haven't
the
been
Summer
down there. I
Street.
drive by it all the time, yeah.
Probably gonna get some part of Hornstra Farms up there. So a section of that somehow for a little dog park.
They tried to cross the street.
Oh.
But I think you're right. You bring a good point. The number 1 and 2 was a skate park and a dog park.
Yeah.
So I think we should address one of those. We
Yeah.
should try to.
That was the most I had. I put a booth up at Whitman Day, and more people asked. You know, not it really has anything to do with us, but everyone accepts us with planning everything for the town. And they're like, are you planning the dog park or a skate park? I'm like, well, that's not really what I do, but we'll write that down somewhere.
Well, if we loop the dog park into the finding the neglected and overgrown public lands, like in terms of identifying a site, because I think that was a missing piece, is everyone wants it, but then we've had very few suggestions about a site.
Yeah.
There is that space at Memorial Field kind of behind the bleachers, because that's initially when raised the money for a skate park after there was the whole controversy.
And had the
Kids
cement
getting
ramps
arrested.
and everything
Yeah.
donated. Yeah.
So that was, I think, the original plan. It was going to be built back there, or at least that's where they stored the stuff. But it seemed like a usable area. They used to have batting cages back there. Those aren't in use anymore. So like, I don't know if
It's flat.
Yeah,
Flat
that
and
area
clear.
back there, like, and we had talked about that, like, that I think that could be a good site along with a pickleball court or something like that because there's the basketball court there.
It's hot there too, though. We
Yeah,
did paint the basketball courts, pickleball courts one year for the seniors. We set up it,
yeah,
and they didn't use it. It's just too hot. After 10 o'clock in the morning in the summer, it's ripping there.
yeah,
The kids will still use the skateboard.
yeah.
I imagine.
In the back
I mean,
there.
they don't use the basketball court that much, though. I don't know why. They like the one in the park.
They do the one in the park, yeah.
That needs some maintenance. The asphalt is now deteriorating. It's been years since it's been really anything. We filled some cracks and we've painted it a few times. Courts or pickleballs, whatever they ask us to.
Yeah. And I think the other idea of
Still
having
fence.
the skate park there too is right next to the police station.
Yeah.
If there's any issues.
Yeah, I know they did that in Hanson. It
They
kind
may
of
want
as
to
like an
weigh in on
intentional
that
thing.
too.
Yeah,
A select board and the police may want to weigh in on some of this.
yeah. I think that's why initially that site was chosen. This is like back in maybe
Yeah.
Right?
Because the eyes are on
or
it.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like $40,000.
We moved
that was
all
raised for
that
it.
stuff. We
Yeah.
moved all that stuff. We went out to Dedham or someplace.
Yeah.
In August, we had a jackhammer all those apparatuses out of the ground and move them, strap to trailers. So that was an undertaking.
So do we
The
think?
stuff sat for years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I
Somebody
don't,
could use like Park Street School there.
I don't know what the real interest in the skateboard park will really be. If you build it, they will come. Some towns are closing theirs. I don't know. I don't see kids skateboard that much anymore.
I drive by
there was
the one in-
20 of them at Shaw's this afternoon when I
Okay.
left.
Yeah, and I lived in Plymouth. I grew up in Plymouth from essentially first grade to high school, and Plymouth got a skate park over by Oak Street, and somewhat the end of like the downtown area by Jenny Gristmill. When I was younger, and we used to use that a lot, and I drive by it every so often, and like it's still packed.
Yeah.
I guess it all depends on
Where it is.
where it is, how much young people, because I know that there's also communities that are families are having to move out because of the cost of living.
Yeah.
Whitman is still somewhat affordable in comparison to some other communities in the area, and so it's a way to retain some of that and use that as sort of like a I don't want to say a cultural amenity, but skaters will travel
Yeah.
for a good skate park.
Rollerblades, bicycles also.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Scooters.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do we think between the two, so it's 10-1 and 10-2, skate park or dog park, which one do you think would be a focus for the next year? Dog park
I
isn't
think
just
easier.
yeah.
the
Just
dog,
like a
the
fence.
dog park isn't just a fenced-in area. The dog park would be trails, walking trails too, so
Yeah.
you can bring the dog. So finding land, that was a big piece, and that's why that property would have worked out very well.
Yeah.
We could look at conservation land and see what's available, but again, now you're talking having dogs and,
Yeah.
so there's a little bit of a concern around that.
I was thinking more like the Union Point style dog park where it really is just like a fenced in area with
Yeah.
like I think they have like ramps and stuff
Yep.
that the dogs can
Yeah.
run and that kind of thing. It's like a lot smaller than what I expected like a dog park to look like, but a lot of people use it when I drive through there.
Perfect thing we got right now is the baseball field. It's all fenced in right there, like that little league field right there. It's perfect. No, I know it says no dogs. I know it's saying that, but it's only one entrance in, one entrance out. It's kind of the perfect place to let them run right now.
So I wonder if the dog park would fit at the community garden and the skateboard park back where it was initially.
Yeah. I think that in my eyes would be kind of the ideal spots now unless we discover anything else.
The only thing we'd have to consider with the dog park is parking. I mean, there is parking there, but
It's not a lot, yeah.
yeah, but maybe they could park at VFW. People park there all the time across the street.
I mean, a lot of people bring their dogs to the park as it is, and it's across adjacent to.
Right.
And so, I mean, if they're already getting to the park with their dogs, it's sort of like a couple of steps to get over, and they could let their dogs.
Yeah, and
You
you
know.
do the boulevard too. A lot of people
Right.
walk the boulevard.
But the boulevard is cleaner than the park as far as dog waste goes.
Right now behind the VFW, they want to put 150 units.
Oh, my Pond Street. They
Yeah.
have some access issues. That's a
Is there
We
street
got a
parking?
huge plan
though?
already for that already. We just saw it.
It looks good.
Yeah, all modular housing.
Yeah, they came to zoning. It looks good.
So-
I was surprised.
For the dog park, the community garden is maybe getting looked at. For the skate park, you said behind the police station?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so like behind like the bleachers at Memorial Field, so
Okay.
kind of like the back corner of that
Okay.
property.
Even the back corner of the police station parking lot where that brown pickup truck's always parked. There's a dark brown Toyota. There's a lot of room back there.
Yeah, they got a big.
When they have events, though, the parking is jammed.
Yeah.
The parking
Yeah.
is actually
Yeah.
football,
Soccer,
soccer.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they want to lose any.
Is there,
Oh, yeah.
is
No,
there
yeah.
street parking there?
Yeah.
Along that like
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yep. Why not? Both sides.
Yeah.
because that would be good parking for.
I do want to give us a
Dog
time
park?
check at 7:27.
Yep. I was actually gonna ask next question. Ed, in your email, when you were sort of setting this meeting up, how frequent did you want to meet at first? Because I think it was like at first we'll meet sort of like at this frequency, and then sort of like as it moves along, we should meet at this frequency. What were your feelings meeting at first?
I was thinking initially to get the ball rolling because we haven't even gone through action items.
Yeah.
You know, we've identified the goals. I think in order to get stuff accomplished this year, the ones that we've identified,
Mhm.
and I don't know how many there are. There are like 8, I think, that we've identified.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6 counting dog park and
Yeah.
skate park.
Which isn't bad, but there's effort that needs to go into it to develop an action plan. Who's going to take what pieces of it? So my initial thought was maybe for a month or two we should meet every 2 weeks. I hate to say that, but summer's going to go by quick.
So
It does.
do committees meet the committees? So let me ask this because I've never served on sort of like a suburban sort of committee like this before. I'm an urban kid, but are there working committees where like in between meetings there's things happening, or do you largely do your work in the meeting itself?
No, there's working meetings, but that's where we got to get to.
Yeah.
So we've got the goals that we're going to focus on. What are the action items and who's?
Because my question is there any value at just me throwing the 6 that we have here into a Google Doc? Like, these are the strategies and like, what are the actions under that? And then we can sort of like take time in between meetings to fill that out so that we can work from that at our meetings.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because Google Docs is a little bit easier to co-create and co-work
Yeah.
than a track changes in a Microsoft Word doc or other things. And so that's easy enough to do. So we can add our notes in between them and then use that as a jumping off point for our meeting.
Yeah, and the big thing is people need to commit to it too.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If you give 2 weeks, we just need to make sure that we get it done. So that when we do meet, it's complete and we can review it and say, yeah, okay, we're good. Let's assign, specific tasks to folks.
I'm just going to tell everyone right off the bat from right till this point, right now till the end of June, I'm at about 70 hours a week. So that's just for work.
Yeah.
No, we get busy
Right.
right now. I know. So
If you're not in a meeting, we assign it to you. Just remember.
I'll always make the meetings. I'll do anything I can to help anybody out with anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah, and even though
March, April, May, and June. I'm just done.
Items.
and that's why, even though I'm on the responsible party, it's got conservation on almost every one of them. There's no way 2 of us are going to be able to
Yeah.
handle it. So we're all in this together.
Yep.
We want to make it.
I'll do everything I can. It's just that's the 3 months, 4 months that I'm just like straight out.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks from today would be April 2nd, if you want to go in that route, and then April 16th.
And then maybe from there we drop down to a month because we've got our actions
See
going.
what's lined up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your planning
We
board
made
jumps
this-
down to once a month.
Yeah.
For the summer, June, July, and August anyway. So
So recreation meets on Thursday nights, and I believe ours is the 16th, but we meet at 6, so I could make it to the meeting, just probably later. Like, I get here 7 or something.
What dates were you thinking?
If we want to keep it to Thursday,
Yep.
it would be every 2 weeks. So it would be April 2nd would be the next one, and then the 16th would be the one after that.
So the 16th, I'll be in Hawaii. Sorry.
Well, that kind of works
Would
out for
work.
me because if we want to do the 23rd, I don't know if that works for people.
I will be.
Why don't, how about, let me propose this. If you want to do what you said and put it on Google Docs, maybe we take 3 weeks to work on it, give it a little more time, and have the meetings the 9th and the 23rd. Does that work better?
9, I'm good, and 23rd, I'm good.
Yeah,
I can do
Thursdays
the
look fine for me.
Not the 23rd.
How many people do we need for a
Yeah.
quorum?
3, right?
3.
3?
They just have a-
Three.
3 is open meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I came in this newly as an alternate for Bruce. But Bruce
Congratulations.
is quite busy and may not be able to make a lot of the meetings.
Yeah.
That's fair. He didn't make a lot of the open space committee meetings either, so I assumed he's busy, and so.
I mean, like I say, we're already doing a lot of this.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right.
Yeah.
We are the action committee so far.
So, 9th
And
and
the other thing
23rd.
is, we want to make this fun too, because this really is going to add a lot of value to the community. So let's have fun with it.
So the 9th and the 23rd, both at 6:30. I will send out the calendar invites for those, as well as I will throw together the Google Doc. And we can use that as a working document in between meetings.
Sounds good.
If you want me to post the meeting, I can. It's up to you.
That'd be
You
helpful.
let me know. Yeah. Just let's figure out what the agenda is going to be.
Yeah, you and I can coordinate in terms of agenda if you want to make sure it's as posted.
Okay.
And then Ryan has graciously volunteered to make sure that the recording gets
Yep.
sent.
And I'll take that with me and bring it back. Did you get it from town hall? They
I did, yeah, from Kathy.
All right, yeah. So either I'll bring it back to Kathy or just bring it to the
She
next
did mention your name, just
Yeah,
Ryan knows how to do it.
yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. Anything else before we adjourn?
No.
All right.
Good.
We're adjourning 7:33.
Nice.
Motion adjourned.